been away from them. We haven't had the problem with the anger. Um, what do you suggest that we do in a situation like this?
Okay. Um, well, firstly, what grade is he in?
It started. He had just turned 6, and he's 7 now. So it was a month and a half of just craziness all of a sudden.
Okay.
He's in second grade.
Okay, he's in the second grade. Now, in your question, you didn't give me anything specific. I need something specific. What exactly is he doing? What exactly are they complaining about?
Well, they said he had some kind of intermittent explosive disorder.
Right,
Is
but
the
tell me
name
what
they
he's
gave.
doing. That's the diagnosis, but what is he doing? What is the exact problem? What are they saying that he's doing? That's the diagnosis, but that doesn't tell me the behavior. What exactly is he
Right.
doing?
Well, actually, he just started fighting them.
Fighting who?
The teachers and stuff. The teachers. He started fighting the teachers all of a sudden
So
out
he's a
of
sec
nowhere.
he's a second grader
Excuse me?
fighting his teachers out of nowhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
So,
young children have a serious need for attention and approval from adults. If that young man is fighting his teachers, something is telling me that there's something in his life that is frustrating him. So whether he's being frustrated by his parents or the home environment and taking it out at school, that's possible. Whether he's being mistreated by the teachers, that's possible. Whether he's being bullied by his peers and is fighting the teachers because of that, that's also possible. Keep in mind, young children do not talk out their problems, they act out their problems. They don't talk them out, they act them out. So if he's fighting his teachers, there's a very clear reason for that. All childhood behavior has a function. And at his age, the function of most behavior is to get attention, and the function of most misbehavior is because they don't feel they're getting enough attention. There's also the possibility that he's spoiled. Okay, but for me, I have a problem with a second grader being diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder. That is ridiculous at 7 years old. That is ridiculous. I would never diagnose a child at that age with that type of a disability. Of course, we know about the ADHDs and all of that, which are also ridiculous, but a 7 year old diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder, that just has me saying, wow. Now, did you say that this problem just started out of nowhere, or did he have a history of behavior problems?
no, he's the sweetest kid. He always wants to help. Well, I figured they weren't letting him help, and they were just making him. Either he doesn't want to learn right now because he doesn't like to to to, to learn first, kind of like. I mean, he only wants to deal with it if he really knows what he's doing.
Um,
Like his brother, he has an older brother,
well, okay. And you are the mother of the young man?
grandmother.
You're the grandmother. Okay. What's going on in that home? Is the father there?
No, he's around, but he is not in the household.
Okay. Is there someone else there
There's
who may be
another
taking
family.
is there someone else there who may be taking well, number one, the dad not there. Is he spending enough time with his father? Because that could be the problem.
Well, yeah, he goes over there. The whole system now is being taken, like into the system now because of this, because they took him away for a 3-day observation. And the last time that they took him away, at the school, they handcuffed him, and the police, it was 9 police cars that came for my grandson. Um, it was very
Okay, hold on, hold on.
traumatic.
Non-police cars, non-police cars came for your grandson where? At school or at home?
at school.
At school. And what did he do that necessitated 9 police cars to show up at the school? What did he do?
Well, he was fighting the teachers, and he took a pencil and stabbed them.
He stabbed the teacher
A
with a
couple of
pencil?
them. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. This just became more intense and more serious for me here. Okay. If he's stabbing adults with pencils, that young man has a very serious emotional issue that I am certain grows out of that family environment. I don't know what he's been through, whether it's verbal abuse, physical abuse, neglect, whether it's purely the result of fatherlessness, but he's hurting inside. Remember, the extent to which a child misbehaves on the outside is the extent to which a child is usually hurting on the inside. Okay, the outside misbehavior is a manifestation of an inside emotional challenge. So he don't need diagnosis, he don't need drugs, he need therapy. That's the family. That there's something clear and wrong going on in that house. For him to be stabbing teachers with pencils, nah, that's not appropriate. The only exception to that is if he's been that spoiled, and that's possible too. He could have been that spoiled by his mother where he has never been disciplined or punished for ever misbehaving, and that he's been allowed to disrespect
He's not
and
well
mistreat
like that.
adults so far that it has escalated to this level. Now, that is also a possibility, but that's rare. That's rare. I am more inclined to say that this is coming from some sort of emotional challenge that's grown out of family dysfunction of some type. For him to be that violent, he's in a lot of pain. That young man is in a lot of pain, and he's going to need immediate help, so he doesn't continue on this path, because this will lead to a juvenile delinquency. Okay, this will lead to sociopathic and psychopathic behavior. If you stabbing adults with pencils at 7, I can only imagine what you'll be doing at 17 if we don't do something about this. And you guys are in Los Angeles. I'm going to be speaking in Los Angeles on Saturday, January the 7th, at the Ward AME Church on the 7th of January. But nonetheless, therapy. That's the thing that's jumping out at me. Therapy. Because if we don't get on this now, he's going to end up in discipline school, expelled. I'm glad he wasn't expelled for stabbing a teacher with a pencil. That's enough to get you expelled today in the days of zero tolerance. Now, let me ask you, is he a special ed student?
Well, he wasn't until this first that happened. They put him in special ed, but he
Well, you
wasn't
can't.
a special ed child. They took his information out of his file for the first grade where he did good, and left it out of his file because she took his file to put him into homeschooling. Um,
Well, here's the one thing. Here's the one thing. Uh, you can't just be put in special ed without parent permission. So if he's in special ed, his mother allowed it. And if he's in special ed, he's been diagnosed with a condition. Now, you already said the outside diagnosis is intermittent explosive disorder, but that is an outside diagnosis. We don't diagnose mental disorders in the school setting. We only diagnose the Suite 13 of special ed. You know, the learning disabilities, the autism, the intellectual
but
disabilities. We don't diagnose that. However, you can qualify for special ed with an outside diagnosis. Okay, so if the parent brings that information into the school, we can use it to classify the child as a child with other health impairment for intermittent explosive disorder. But we do not diagnose intermittent explosive disorder in the school setting. That's not a special ed disability. But again, you can qualify for it if the parent makes that information known. I'm not too sure that, in fact, I am sure that his mother should have never even told the school that he had that diagnosis. One thing I always caution parents about, and I talk about this in my book, Psychoacademic Holocaust, that you should never share um, disturbing diagnoses with the school, you should never share any diagnosis that can be used to discriminate against your child in school. Uh, because kids are not diagnosed with ADHDs and conduct disorders and oppositional defiant disorders and intermittent explosive disorders, um, because those things are not diagnosed in school. If you don't tell the school, they can never use it. So whenever you find a kid in special ed for intermittent explosive disorder, it's because the parent shared information with the school that they should have never shared. That's number one. But that's beside the point. Go ahead.
This has just started, so no, she didn't share it.
If
We
he's in
already taken
special
him
ed,
out
well,
of
then he's
school
not in
when they
special ed.
got this.
But
Well,
it,
the
it,
other school, okay, he was in another school when the first thing happened, and it was the regular school. And then they told us to take him out and put him into this other school that was more designed to help, to be able to handle him. And this is all coming out of nowhere. And they didn't have that first diagnosis of when he went the first time, when he was 6. It was his birthday, the day he was in there for the day after his birthday. And then, before his birthday, he went. But they didn't come out with a diagnosis. So she didn't go tell him anything. This is them trying to put him in this special ed class.
okay.
And he's
So
not special ed.
okay, so he's not okay. Okay. He's either in special ed or he isn't. And if he's in special ed, he only got there because the parents signed permission for him to go. You cannot. I evaluate kids every day for special ed. Okay, you cannot. It is illegal. Okay, you cannot put a kid in special ed without parent permission. Every child with a diagnosis was diagnosed because the parent okayed it. Every child in special ed is in special ed because the parent okayed it. Now, if you have a situation where a kid is in special ed and the parent did not sign approval, that's a lawsuit. That's a lawsuit. Now, it does happen every once in a while. I had a case here, a Upper Marion School District, where they put a little black boy in special ed without parent permission, and they got sued. It rarely happens. But nonetheless, special ed ain't going to help his problems because he ain't got a learning problem. Okay, he has an emotional issue rooted in family dysfunction, and he need therapy. One thing I want to do is I want you to text me, and when I'm done with the call, I will text you the phone number and email address for the Association of Black Psychologists. So you guys, and there's a lot of black psychologists in California. In fact, the Association of Black Psychologists was founded in California, and there's a lot of good black psychologists in California, in Los Angeles in particular. And so if you contact the association, they will refer you guys to a psychologist who can start working with him immediately. That's what he needs. He also needs his dad, assuming that the father is not abusive to the young man, but he needs his dad or a father figure. That young man is hurting. He is hurting. And we got to act now. We really have to act now, because if he's doing this at 7, again, my heart hurts for what he may be doing at 17. So we got to get on this right now. But
Okay.
was there another piece to that? Because the
fact that they took out his records out of his records when everything was fine, and all of a sudden, this all had been in a matter of a month and a half. From the first time he went to the second time, they took him away to the third, to the 3A place to get he got that little diagnosis of the intermittent.
Was he ever hospitalized? Was he ever psychiatrically hospitalized? Was he ever hospitalized for mental health?
They took him away for 3 days.
Overnight?
The first time.
Was it overnight?
The second time. Was he
The 3 days, was it overnight? Was he hospitalized? Was it overnight?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the other thing. Because what he's doing, y'all may have to put him in special ed, because a special ed kid can only be suspended for 10 days before the IEP team is forced to meet to approve subsequent days. So y'all may have to put him in special ed so he doesn't get expelled or kicked out of school. So in a case like this where the misbehavior is so bad, you might need special ed to protect him from expulsion. You may actually need that. But also, if he has to go to special ed, I don't think the school can handle him. So if he does go to special ed, you guys are going to have to state, that we are only going to approve a special ed placement. We're only going to approve special ed programming if you guys are going to approve our request for an approved private school. In other words, if a school district cannot meet the needs of a special ed kid, they have to pay for that special ed kid to go to private school. They have to pay for that special ed kid to go to private school. So, what you guys could do when you have your meeting with the IEP team, individual education program team, which basically is responsible for the education of every special ed kid, you can demand, listen, we'll put them in special ed, but only if you guys are going to put them in a private school. That's the only setting we're going to approve of. The IEP team has to determine the program, the placement, and to monitor progress. And so what you guys can say is, listen, only if you are going to approve of a private school. We want him at a private school. The school district cannot serve him. We want him at a private school. Only if you guys approve to a private school will we put our son and grandson in special ed. I got a question. The school he goes to, is it a public school or independent?
He was going to a public school in Burbank. He was at one school one day, and then they put him into this other school in Burbank that they're supposed to be designed to help these kids, is what they said. But apparently, I don't know, something was ticking him off, and he just all of a sudden, because he didn't act like that with none of us before. He was a very nice young man, wants to be a policeman, and this was like, I don't know, it was just something all of a sudden, out of the blue, and now he's doing the homeschool, and he's doing great.
Okay, he's homeschooled. Well, then you guys might want to keep him homeschooled, but I don't know if you can keep that up, and if that home is the cause of his emotional problems, which I'm pretty certain is the case, I don't know if I want him home all day long. He might need a breather to get out of there. But nonetheless, let me give you my number so you can text me for the association. And also, if you guys decide that y'all need to have a one-on-one consultation with me, you can also pay for that. That's $50, and we can spend as much time as we need to on the phone discussing the situation. Okay, the phone number is 215-989-9858. 9858. Yes, ma'am. That's my cell phone. Now, this is what I want you to do. And this is for everybody on the call. My text message function is dysfunctioning because I get so many text messages from parents and business and colleges and speaking requests and all that. So if you have WhatsApp on your phone, please add me on WhatsApp because my WhatsApp never dysfunctions. It never malfunctions. It's always working well. So if you have the WhatsApp on your phone, then text me through WhatsApp. If you don't, then go ahead and just text me regularly. It just may take me a little longer to get back to you because my text function on my iPhone often dysfunctions. So if you have WhatsApp, use it. But if you got to use it regular, that's fine too. Okay, but again, she and you definitely need to be at my lecture in Los Angeles. And when you text me, I'll text you that information too. But that's Saturday, January the 7th, 5 to 8. Go ahead.
I live in Los Angeles, and so now that they put him in a school district in Los Angeles, because they kicked him out, both of them out actually, at this point, because they were very embarrassed at what happened and how this happened. And I don't know, this was kind of the craziest thing. And when we first got him in there at the new school, they said that, oh, he's doing an excellent job. Oh, he's doing wonderful.
I got you.
And then the principal said on this last occasion, pretty much, that she said he never was good. He never was good, and she was really mad because of the 9 police cars and the psychologists and everything. They were trying to get him to take some tests, and he didn't want to, so he didn't, and so they never could really get him tested for being special ed or anything like that because he wasn't. He was a regular student.
I got you. Well, let me do this, sis. Let me move on because we got some other parents, but you got my number. So reach out to me and we can continue that conversation. Make sure you send me a text.
I will.
All right,
Thank you so
sweetheart.
much.
And we'll get through it. No problem. We will get through it. Just stay in touch with me.
Okay.
All right
I
now.
will.
Thank you. All right. Is there another question on the call this morning?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Where are you calling from?
Philly.
Philadelphia. I'm in Philadelphia too. What part of Philadelphia?
West Philly.
Okay. I'm North Philly, but I ride with West Philly too, no doubt. But go right ahead, sis. What's your question?
Okay, so I have my niece IEP sitting in front of me. I'm waiting for her to come downstairs. I want to know if you could kind of explain to her what an IEP is, so that she'll get a better understanding of how she needs to work for herself.
What grade? What grade? What grade?
She's in 11th grade.
She's in 11th grade. Where she go to school at?
She goes to Paul Robeson.
Paul Robeson.
I transferred her from motivational high school because she wasn't doing well at all, like no progress. And I thought something different about the IEP. And, you know, once I came out of working full time and I had the chance to sit down, understand, and listen to several of your videos, I now understand that it's not really put in place to help, really.
But wait a second. She's in 11th grade. I would assume that she's been in special ed for a while. When did she first get an IEP? What grade was she initially evaluated and put in special ed?
She was evaluated when I first got them. I think it was like, she was in the 7th grade or 6th grade.
But it was middle school though, right? It was middle school. So it wasn't early.
Yeah,
it was middle school. And what is she in special ed for? What is her classification? Is it the learning disability?
Well,
is it
right. Well, they're saying that she just needs help with learning. 60-minute IEP term, school thing. I'm just kind of going over it. Well, they just said she just needs a little help, like pulling her out of the class.
Now help with what? What area? What is her disability? Okay. All areas.
Reading, writing,
Okay, let me tell you a little secret. And of course, I know Philadelphia schools well since I was once a school psychologist with them before I quit. But first of all, Philly schools suck. Well, most inner city schools suck. Let me say this to you. I'm willing to bet that your niece does not have a learning disability, and she simply has never been taught effectively. Okay? Or do you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Now let me finish this. She simply ain't been taught. Now, she's in 11th grade. So she got this year and next year, and then she graduates. Couple things, and this is very important. A lot of special ed high school students are not getting regular diplomas when they graduate. You need to make sure that your niece is on track to get a regular high school diploma when she graduates. And the way you do this is you write a letter to the school, the principal, requesting an IEP meeting to discuss graduation requirements for your niece. And you want to be very clear with them. I understand that special ed kids are not getting diplomas. A lot of them are not getting diplomas. Some are, some are not, depending on whether they meet graduation requirements for the state of Pennsylvania. Is this IEP team making sure that my niece is going to meet graduation requirements? Is she on track to meet state of Pennsylvania graduation requirements so she get a high school diploma? Because you do not want to get a letter a week before graduation telling you that your niece will not get a high school diploma. So whenever I hear high school and special ed black kids, especially in trifling school districts like Philadelphia, My first recommendation for you is to make sure she gets a regular diploma. Make sure of that. You need to call an IEP meeting to make sure of that. In addition to that, she needs to be practicing more. She needs to be practicing more. She needs to be reading more. She needs to be practicing her math more. Make sure she's getting homework every day, because in a lot of schools, they reward the kids for good behavior by not giving them homework, which is absolutely ridiculous, because what that says is you can actually, the reward for behaving yourself is miseducation. Because if you don't get in trouble, I'm not going to give you no homework. So you'll actually be rewarded with miseducation for not misbehaving, which is insane. Um, but for what I'm hearing you tell me, she don't have major problems. She just simply needs practice. She needs tutoring. You should find her a tutor, somebody who can work with her outside of school. It could be a retired teacher. It could be a college student. It could be another high school student who's good in school. You could work with her yourself. But special ed is not special. There's nothing happening in special ed that you cannot do yourself. And my biggest concern for her as a junior is to make sure she's going to get a high school diploma, and to make sure that she's academically functional when she graduates, so she can't go to trade school, college, or get a job. So that's the big thing right now. That's the big thing. The other thing too, you could get her taken out of special ed. In Pennsylvania, like in most states, all you have to do is call an IEP meeting and say, I want her exited. And they got to exit her right then and there. You can literally have her out of special ed by the end of the week if you wanted to. But we don't want to do that unless we're sure she can handle the work and that she wants to do the work. Because a lot of our high schoolers have a lazy disease. They have a lazy disease where they don't like doing work. And if she's one of those kids who's not interested in school, okay, then taking her out of special ed is going to cause more problems than leaving her in. So this is a conversation that you got to have with her to see what she really wants. Do you want out of special ed? If I take you out, are you going to perform? So, a lot of this has to do with what she wants, because she's at an age now where she has to make the call. If she say, Auntie, I can do this work. I don't need no special ed. They're not working with me anyway. It's only 1 hour a week. I don't need them. Take me out of that. You know, or if you say, listen, you're not really motivated to do your best. You're not going to class. You're not doing your own. It's a reality check, and it has to be a realistic decision based on what she wants for herself right now.
Well, what I was looking at. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, so her levels of reading is 6.2 grade average, 7.6 in the math, and 6.2 in literacy. And I felt, just the last test that she took, it was 5th grade. So I'm trying to figure out, they gave her straight A's and a little stamp that said that she made honor roll. Now, I'm just a little bit lost on the levels of reading. How is it that she's going to graduate reading on an 8th grade level? Or because that's probably as far as she'd be by the time she get in the 12th grade.
Okay. Well, she is behind. She is behind. But let's also keep in mind that you can close a child's skill level by 1 grade in about 4 weeks. So even though she's 4 grade levels behind, much lower than where we want her, much lower than where she needs to be, we can close those gaps. If she gets the right help, she can finish the school year on grade level, being that far behind. But here's another question. If she's been in special ed for 4 or 5 years, 7th grade, if she's that far behind grade level, what is the IEP team doing for your niece? Because
that's exactly what I said.
here's the thing. Let me tell you what I would do if I were you. If I were you, I would write a letter. Make sure you do everything in writing. I would write a letter to the principal demanding an IEP team to discuss my niece's program placement and progress. Remember the 3 Ps. I need you to remember the 3 Ps, because those are the functions and responsibilities of the IEP team. The first P is program. The IEP team creates your niece's program. If she has a reading disability, they create the reading goals. They create the reading objectives. They create um, the different reading strategies that are going to be used to help her. So you want to ask them, what is the program? What exactly are y'all doing for her? Because she hasn't made progress. She hasn't made progress. She's been stuck at the seventh grade level since seventh grade. Whatever level she at, that's where she's been stuck at. So if she's in 11th grade and she's reading on the seventh, she's been stuck on seventh grade level. So what have y'all been doing for the past 4 years? If she's doing math on a sixth grade level, she's been stuck at the sixth grade level for math for 5 or 6 years. What the hell are y'all doing? Y'all get extra money from the state of Pennsylvania to special educate my niece, and you guys are not doing a good job. So that's program. Number two, placement.
But they claim they don't
Hold
get
on, let me
paid.
finish this. I need you to get this. Placement. She's at the Robeson High School. Maybe that's not the place for her. And that's another question you need to bring up. Obviously, this is not the best placement for my niece because she's not making any progress. Now, here's the other thing. Okay, so that's the placement. And then progress. She ain't made no progress. So program, what she's going to learn, placement, where she's going to learn it, progress to make sure she's benefiting from special ed. And the way that I see it, they failed her. So one thing you need to know that under special ed law, if a parent can prove that the school district has not properly educated their child, that parent can demand, that parent can force the school district to provide that child with an approved private school education. I need you to get this. APS, approved private school education. I think it's time for you to demand an approved private school placement. They fell in her. She only got 2 years to go and she's operating on elementary school level. That has me concerned that they don't plan on giving her a regular diploma. They can't with those levels. So it's time for you to act, and it's time for you to act now. That's not acceptable. That is not acceptable. And your thing to them is going to be real simple. My niece is graduating in 2 years. There's no way she can graduate with these grades. I want to know what our plan of action is right now to make sure she gets to where she needs to be by graduation to earn a regular diploma. And if I'm not convinced by your plan, I am then demanding an approved private school. I want her in an approved private school for students with special needs, with learning disabilities. Now they're going to fight you in a private school because Philadelphia schools don't like to pay for nothing. Okay, but that's okay. You can take them to due process. If they refuse your request for an approved private school, okay, yes, you're in a trap. It's every state. If they refuse your request for an approved private school, you can still take them to due process. Due process is when you challenge the school district at the state level. You challenge your school district at the state level. You go to the Pennsylvania Department of Education, Bureau of Special Education website, and you fill out a complaint right online. I am making this complaint because my child is in special ed at the Robeson High School. She's in 11th grade, should be graduating next year, but she's reading and doing math on 6th and 7th grade level. She's been in special ed since the 6th and 7th grade. She's made almost no progress in all this time. She's not mentally retarded. I don't believe that the Philadelphia School District can meet my niece's needs. I am demanding an approved private school. I made this request at an IEP meeting and they refused me. So I'm now seeking due process to make sure that my child, my niece, gets the education that she's entitled to. All special ed kids are entitled to a free and appropriate public education. And my daughter is not receiving an appropriate public education, and she has a right to a private school if the school district cannot meet her needs. If you want, after you write that letter, you can send it to me, and I'll look at it to make sure it has what it needs to have in it. And we're going to carbon copy the superintendent of Philly too, so they're aware, because this is a serious situation. So your next step is to write a letter to the principal of the school demanding an IEP team meeting with all of your concerns laid out. You email it to me. I look at it, make sure it doesn't need anything else, and you send it on in. When you go to that meeting, you do not go alone. When you go to that meeting, you do not go alone. In fact, I'm going to be meeting with a sister probably next week who's going to help me with starting the Philadelphia chapter of the National Independent Black Parent Association. The Philadelphia chapter of the National Independent Black Parent Association, which you definitely need to be a part of. But nonetheless, that's what needs to happen. Do you have my number? Because once you have your letter ready for me to look at, I need you to get in contact with me. Do you have my number?
Yeah, I have your number. I'm going to start that because the last week, and I was trying to delay it until after I spoke with you, but I missed the conference call last week. But I definitely went in there with my concerns, and basically they were just kind of like pushing the paperwork for me to sign, even though
Because they don't care about nothing but the paperwork. Because they have to get the paperwork done so that they are in compliance with the state. But that's all they care about is the paperwork. They don't care about your child learning. And one thing you need to understand is that you can hold up the paperwork. You can hold up the paperwork. And, you don't have to stop signing. See, you shouldn't have signed that IEP. That's where you messed up. You shouldn't have signed it. I need y'all parents to stop signing stuff y'all don't agree with. If you don't agree with the progress your child is making in special ed, you should not be signing anything. Stop signing. But that's okay. You signed it. It's over. We still need to do our letter, and we need to go back in there. We need to do our letter, and we need to go back in there because you're now aware of rights that you did not know you had at the time of the meeting. And you could put that in the letter too.
Right.
And when you go to these meetings, stop going by yourself. Parents should never go to school meetings alone. Parents should never go, and that's coming from a certified school principal, myself. Parents should never go to school meetings alone. Say that again.
Who should you take with you?
Anybody. Cousin, uncle, nephew, niece, grandparent, mom, dad, friend from the community. You don't go by yourself. You take somebody with you. I recommend you take 2 people with you. Okay, these are members of the family, and they are just as concerned about my niece as I. I invited them to come, or they wanted to come, and they are here, and they will be here. So you have some support. You need support in those meetings because you guys are outnumbered. You're always outnumbered. Okay, and then you are, what's the word for it? You are, when someone knows more than you know. You are, yes, you're bamboozled. There you go. You said it, sister. You're easily bamboozled. You're surrounded by a bunch of white folks and sellout blacks, and they know more information than you do, which means they can manipulate this situation. So there's no way you can win. There's no way you can win going into a situation where you're outnumbered and where those people that outnumber you have more information than you do. So that's next. So once you have your letter ready, text me, and I'll give you my email address to email me the letter, and we'll take it from there. But we got to get back in there. And it's early enough in the school year where you can really shake their chains and make them get something done.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
No problem.
But, could you explain to her just a little bit of what the IEP is?
Okay.
Here she goes. Her name is... Hi.
How you doing, Princess? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, here's what I need you to know. Okay, you're in 11th grade. All right, you got 2 years to go. Do you think you need special education in order to be successful in school? If you need it, that's okay. But do you need it? Or can you do well in class without going to special ed?
I think I can do well without going to special ed because I feel like I haven't been like...
Okay, because special ed isn't helping you anyway, correct?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was just talking to your aunt, and she's going to stay in contact with me. But I told her that she needs to have a serious conversation with you because I suspected exactly what you are now confirming, which is they're not helping you anyway. Special ed ain't doing nothing for you. So I think it's time for you to be exited from special ed. But here's the thing. If you get exited from special ed now, you're going to have to do that work, and you're going to have to achieve because you won't have special ed to fall back on. See, special ed kids get passed anyway just because they're in special ed, okay? Now, you get taken out of special ed, you're going to have to earn those grades. You're going to have to earn your passing score. Are you willing to work for that?
Yes.
Okay. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. So just let your aunt know you want out of special ed. Take me out. I don't need it. It's not doing nothing for me. And I can do this on my own, which is good because I want to make sure you graduate. A lot of special ed kids, they're not graduating with high school diplomas. And I don't want you in that situation. So I'm glad you want to come out because some kids don't want to come out. They love the crutches and protections and laziness that special ed allows. So I'm glad you want out of that. Okay, sweetie.
Right.
Put your auntie back on for me.
Yeah, thank
Yeah, she says she want out. I would take her out. We still gonna do the letter though. We still gonna do the letter though,
Yeah.
because they owe her. See, there's something known as comp ed that I need you to understand. Compensatory ed. That means the school district has to pay for all the years that your niece was miseducated in special ed. So let's say she went in special ed in the seventh. She's now in the 11th. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's almost 5 years of her not getting help. So guess what? Even when you take her out of special ed, even when you take her out of special ed, there's money that they're going to have to pay so you can pay for tutoring and other services so that your niece can catch up. So we still going to get them on a comp ed. We're not going to let them go. We still going to get them on that.
Oh, thank you so much. I
All right.
appreciate it.
So keep me posted. You got my number. Once your letter is ready, send it to me.
Okay.
All right. No problem. Is there another question on the call this morning?
Excuse me, could you explain what the IEP is?
Yes, ma'am. IEP is the vehicle. It is the document. It is the weapon. It is the purpose of special education. Okay, let's say we got two kids. You have two children. One is in regular ed, 5th grade. The other one is in special ed, 5th grade. The regular ed 5th grader is going to get the same instruction that all the other 5th grade boys and girls get. He's going to get the same math. He's going to get the same reading. He's going to get the same language. He's going to be expected to do as well as everyone else in his grade. Nothing changes. He gets the same instruction as all his other classmates. Now, your special ed 5th grader, because he has been evaluated by a school psychologist and determined to have one of the 13 federally defined special ed disabilities, which include autism, emotional disturbance, intellectual disability, learning disability, speech and language impairment, deafness, blindness, traumatic brain injury, orthopedic impairment, developmental delay, other health impairment. Because he has one of those disabilities, he no longer is expected to do as well as the other children. He's no longer expected to keep up with the other children. So a special ed kid has a different curriculum. The IEP is curriculum. The IEP is a curriculum program, but it is only for the skill area in which the child has been identified to have a disability. So if your child is in special ed for math, he has a special math curriculum, but he still gets the same reading. He still gets the same language. He still gets the same history. He still gets the same science. He's still in the regular class with his other classmates for everything else. But when it's time for math, they pull him out and he gets a special math program. That is the IEP, Individual Education Program, in the skill area that your child has been told that they have a disability. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. And the IEP team has 3 responsibilities. Program, they create the curriculum for the disabled skill area. Placement, they decide where your child should learn. Where should they get their special ed? Should they get it in a regular class? Should they get it at a private school? Should they get it at another neighborhood school? Should they get it in a special ed? Placement? And then progress. They have to make sure special ed is benefiting your child. Those are the 3 responsibilities of the IEP team. And as a parent, you are a mandated member of the IEP team. So you must be included in all decisions about your child. And I would also tell you that if you don't agree with the decision about your child, they really can't move forward without you. The parent holds the power. Black parents hold the power. The problem is we let them bully us into doing whatever they want us to do. It goes back to that whole Willie Lynch, scared of white folks, traumatized by white folks, in love with white folks, where we walk into that school and our brains stop working and we do whatever white folks want us to do, and we have to stop doing that. Okay, you good?
Yes.
All right, thank you for that. Is there another question on the call this morning?
What this card said.
Okay. Does anyone else have a question on the call?
I know like can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Where you calling from?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm actually looking for a venue in Charlotte, North Carolina to do a lecture in Black History Month. So if you got any ideas, text them to me. But go ahead, my brother.
Okay, I'm in a situation where I'm recently divorced.
Okay, you sound kind of far. You sound kind of far away from your phone, good brother.
Give me a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in a situation where I'm recently divorced from my wife, and of course the children were separated, and she has custody. Now, what's going on is I found out through medical records that he was given some type of medication. Now, I looked up what the medication was for, and it was basically a depressant. I don't remember the exact name of it.
It was an antidepressant.
Yeah, it was an antidepressant.
So that's Zoloft, Paxil, Prozac, if it's an antidepressant. Or was it an anti-stimulant, which would be ADHD?
It started with an O.
It started with an O.
I think it started with an O.
Okay. With an O. With an O.
I know it was basically well, he's been on an IEP since he was in the 3rd grade.
What grade is he in now?
Now he's in the 5th grade now.
Okay.
Now he was making progress, and then we separated. Now, as far as the IEP goes, like I said, he was making progress. But my question is, basically, she went and had him evaluated without me, and she got him on this medication. Now, I don't have a problem with the IEP because he's making progress, but I do not want him on any type of medication.
Okay.
Like I said, she has the rights right now as far as the schooling going forward. As of right now, and I'm still fighting that in court. My thing is, how do I go about getting this medication, getting them off of this medication?
Okay.
Or do I have the right?
Okay, couple things here. Number one, you need to go to family court and have the judge give you a letter that states that decisions cannot be made about your children medically or educationally unless both parents agree on that decision. That's a letter you need to get from family court. The judge will give it to you. It basically, you have shared legal custody anyway, but you have to declare it. You have to declare it. So you need to, go to family court. Listen, I need to get shared legal custody. I need a letter from the judge stating that educational and medical decisions cannot be made about my child without me and the mother agreeing on those decisions. You take a copy of that, you give it to the school. Now the school knows that you cannot make decisions about my child unless I am involved. Because a lot of times, I'm going to tell you, working in the schools, and all my sisters out there who are educators and principals, if they want to be honest, they would have to admit this. The black women in the schools often work with the black mothers against the black fathers. I've seen this. I've seen this where sometimes a black father might catch more hell from a black female principal than you would ever catch from a white principal because she's scorned against black men. So black fathers can really catch hell when you're dealing with black female teachers and black female principals and you're trying to do right by your son, because many of them are going through the same issues with the fathers of their children. So you got to come armed with that paperwork. You get that letter. And then once you get that letter, then that's when you and the mother need to have a conversation with the prescribing psychiatrist or prescribing pediatrician. And then that's when you gonna let them know, I want my son off of this. We need to start weaning him off. He don't need no damn medication. Okay, she should have never done that anyway. You know, I really wish mothers would allow fathers to take the lead when the father is involved regarding their sons. It never turns out well when the mothers, let me not say, it doesn't turn out as well. It doesn't turn out as well when the mother takes the lead on the boys because she's not a boy. Women don't understand really what's happening because they're not males. And a lot of mothers did not go through what we went through. See, we know how the school works because they did it to us. So we know how to advocate for our son. The mothers don't, but because of this whole, you know, black feminist, you don't need a dad type nonsense that's running around in the black community, a lot of mothers aren't willing to respect the father's right and ability to take the lead when it comes to their sons. But if you get that letter, first step is that letter. That way you shut the school down from operating outside your knowledge. And then second is to meet with that pediatrician and get him off those meds. So, yeah, you can make it happen. But I will say this, though. Because the prescription has already been given, you and the mom, it would help if you and the mom could come to an agreement that it's time to wean him off those drugs. And one of the things this is what you do for her. You go to the website for the company that makes that drug that your son is taking, and you print out the side effects. Go to the company's website, print out the side effects, and give it to his mom and say, are you willing to have him suffer from these things for the rest of his life because you put him on this medicine? Because the side effects ain't no joke. They're no joke, my brother. They will mess with your brain cells.
Yeah, I kind of did that. I did that in a text form, but I guess I need paper copy. And it's been a bitter divorce, and she's been keeping the kids away from me, and the court's been siding with her the whole time. So I've been fighting this uphill battle for the last almost 2 years now.
Okay.
So
yeah, get that letter, and that's the beginning for you right there, because you got to establish that legal foundation that I have a right to be included on these decisions.
Okay. So a letter to the judge, or
a letter from the judge. Yeah, depending on how your city. You want a letter from the judge. Normally, you gotta go to the court. Like in Philly, I would have to go to the court, put in a petition to modify custody, and then when the hearing comes up, stating that I have shared legal custody of my son, in my case, daughters, but of my son, and that says that educational and medical decisions cannot be made without both parents being involved. And the judge is going to ask you why you want that. Are you going to tell him she's making all these decisions about my kids? I'm not even in crew. My son is on drugs. I don't believe in that. I don't think he needs that. His issue is discipline because he ain't getting to spend enough time with me. You know how to put it. And that's what you tell. You'll get it. Yeah, you're going to get it. I've never heard of a judge not give the father a letter declaring shared legal, and that decisions must involve educational medical decisions must involve both of them. Because when you're dealing with that medicine, you're dealing with both. You're dealing with an educational decision because it was school-based, and you're dealing with medical because it was written by a licensed physician. So you're actually dealing with both.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have no problem, my brother. Good luck with that.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.
No problem. Is there another question on the call? Well, before I take the next question, let me say this, because folks was asking. Okay, let me clarify. Number one, I got a question about the college tour. In 2017, Dr. Umar Johnson will be embarking upon 2 college tours. We will be doing the 2nd annual Unapologetically African Black College and Consciousness Tour for 11 to 17-year-old boys and girls. 11 to 17-year-old boys and girls. It will be from Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, the flyer is on my Facebook feed. If you go down my Facebook, for all you Facebook livers, you will see it there. Okay, the dates have already been set. I think that's June 28th to July the 12th. The dates have been set. Registration will begin on New Year's Day. Okay? I will allow for a payment option, but you will get no refund. I will allow for a payment option, but there will be no refunds. Okay, I want to be clear about that. There will be no refunds. Okay, because if you pull out at the last minute, that affects all the kids because no money is being made off of this, so there is no overhead. No money is being made off the college tour, so there is no overhead. So there would be no refunds. Okay, so that's 11 to 17. 11 to 17. Atlanta, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. Okay. Now, the tour that we did last year, the North Tour. So this year, we're going to do the South Tour. Last year, we did the North Tour. Since some of the children who will be going on the tour this year was with me last year, they're going to be doing the South Tour. So we won't be doing the North Tour for 11 to 17. They will be doing the South Tour. Okay. If your child is 11 to 17, they all do the South Tour. The second tour will be 18 to 25. I am doing a young adult Black College and Consciousness tour, 18 to 25. That will be the North Tour. So the same tour that I did last year with the 11 to 17-year-olds, I will be doing this year with the 18 to 25-year-olds. Let me say this again. The tour that we did last year for the 11 to 17-year-olds, 2016 tour, we will now do it in 2017 for the 18 to 25-year-olds. Everybody understand that? And so the children from last year, they will be doing the South Tour. So, and then next year, 2018, God willing, the children will be doing the Deep South Tour. The young adults will be doing the South Tour. And all adults will be doing the North Tour. So y'all see how that go. Ultimately, we're going to end up with about 4 or 5 tours, and they're going to cycle. The tours are going to cycle. So everybody get a chance to do the North Tour. Everybody get a chance to do the South Tour, the Deep South Tour, and then the Midwest Tour. So there's going to be 4 tours. Okay. That's how that's going to work. All right. As far as the lectures go, I will be speaking in Washington, D.C. Dr. Umar Johnson will be speaking in Washington, D.C. this Sunday, December the 4th, from 5 until 8. From 6 until 8. The doors open up at 4. The Thurgood Marshall Center. You can get your tickets online right now at my Eventbrite page. princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com. princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com. I will be speaking in Elizabeth, New Jersey at the Mickey Walker Community Center, Elizabeth, New Jersey, on Saturday, December the 10th, Elizabeth. Queens, New York City. I will be speaking in Queens, New York City on Sunday, December the 11th at the Jamaica Queens Performing Arts Center. I will be speaking in St. Louis, Missouri on Monday, December the 26th, the first day of Kwanzaa, St. Louis, Missouri. Jacksonville, Florida on Wednesday, December the 28th, the third day of Kwanzaa. Jacksonville, Florida, Wednesday, December the 28th, third day of Kwanzaa. I will be in Detroit, Michigan, Friday, December the 30th, the fifth day of Kwanzaa. Friday, December the 30th, the fifth day of Kwanzaa. I will be in Detroit. Jackson, Mississippi, Saturday, December the 31st. Jackson, Mississippi, Saturday, December the 31st, the sixth day of Kwanzaa. And then the seventh day will be in Atlanta, Georgia. The seventh day will be Atlanta, Georgia, Shrine of the Black Madonna. January the 1st, we're going to bring in the new year in Atlanta and Los Angeles. I repeat, we're going to bring in the new year in Atlanta and Los Angeles. Atlanta will be the last day of Kwanzaa, first day of the new year, Sunday, January the 1st, Shrine of the Black Madonna. Los Angeles, California will be Saturday, January the 7th. Okay? Los Angeles, California, Saturday, January the 7th. It will be my first visit to Los Angeles since August of 2014. So it's been a little while for me. Okay? Excuse me, August of 2015, I believe, or 14. So it's been a little while for me. Los Angeles, stand up. San Diego, the National Independent Black Parent Association Conference will be in San Diego, California, World Beat Cultural Center, Friday and Saturday, January 27th and 28th. Go ahead and put in to take off from work, put in your vacation, get your flight, get your hotel, World Beat Cultural Center, Friday and Saturday, January 27th and 28th. If you want to start a chapter of the National Independent Black Parent Association, if you want to start a chapter, you must get trained. There is no chapter without the training. To get the training, you have to come with us to San Diego. To get the training, you have to come with us to San Diego. Okay? The Parent Association is a working organization. Unfortunately, in the conscious community, the Hotep movement, all we want to do is learn, talk, okay, party, and go to events. Okay? That's not the Parent Association. You have to work, you have to organize. And that's why a lot of people are not interested in the Parent Association, because y'all used to doing the conscious Hotep thing. Because black consciousness is a religion. Black consciousness is a religion, and it operates just like a church. What do you do in church? You come, you listen, okay? You pay, and you go through rituals. You go through communion, okay? You go through Easter, you go through Christmas, different rituals. You just show up and you participate in rituals. The black conscious community is the same way. You show up at events, you pay just like you pay at church, and then you go through rituals. What are the rituals? Kwanzaa ritual, Black History ritual, the different events, the different festivals. It's just rituals and attendance and rituals. That's just like church. And because we're so we're so caught up in this ritualistic consciousness that nobody wants to do no real work. We forgot what consciousness is all about. We forgot about doing work. That's why when I come to Queens, my lecture in Queens on Sunday, December the 11th, is going to be about black consciousness versus black intelligence. Queens, New York. Black consciousness versus black intelligence. Because consciousness is just a state of knowing. It's a state of knowing. You understand? But black intelligence is a state of being. When you're intelligent, you do things to change your reality. Consciousness is all about thinking. It's all about information. It's all about the mindset. But where is the action? Where is the work? Where is the infrastructure? Where are the programs? Where is the services? That's black intelligence. Consciousness is a religion. Black intelligence will create a revolution. Consciousness is a religion. Hold on, my brother. Hold on. Whoa. I'm not done. Okay, so let me say that. And then let me say this. And then I'm going to go back to the parents. I've been getting a lot of emails and texts and WhatsApps about the Black Power Awards that happened in Atlanta. As y'all know, there was a Black Power Awards in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. I've been getting a lot of texts and WhatsApps and tweets and Facebooks about me not being nominated or receiving an award. Let me say this. I support the Black Power Awards. I don't have no problem with it. I'm glad they did it. Why? Because those of you who follow my work know that Dr. Umar Johnson has always talked about a need for us to do what? Create a system of accountability for our people. We're the only people without a system of accountability of rewards and punishments. Rewards and punishments. We do not reward people who do well. Okay? We do not reward the people who do well, and we do not punish the people who betray us. You understand me? So as far as I'm concerned, the Black Consciousness Awards took a step in the right direction. Okay? It doesn't matter who put them on. It could have been haters of mine. I don't care. I don't care about that. Okay? I support it because that needed to happen. Now, I saw there was a lot of debate over, should this person have won that? Why wasn't this person nominated? Let me say this to that. I don't do what I do to get recognized. I don't do what I do to get awards. I don't do what I do to be approved by any clique or community within a conscious community. When I look at the Black Power Awards, I look at it as a particular group of brothers and sisters who don't necessarily represent the entire black community. They represent their particular group who decided to award people who has put in work. And I don't see no problem with that. It's not about who's the best. It's not about who's at the top. That's Eurocentric. In our culture, we honor anyone who we feel is contributing to the maintenance and upkeep and empowerment of that culture. I need y'all to understand that. So, okay, it doesn't matter if the best person in that category did not win that award, because it's not about the best. It's not about competition. African culture is not about competition. So when people was hitting me up saying you didn't get an award, how do you feel about that? I never got into this to get rewarded. Okay. Dr. Umar Johnson gets rewarded every day. I get rewarded by helping parents. I get rewarded by the emails that I get. I get rewarded by all the letters of support that flood into the post office. I get rewarded by the different gifts that people give me at my events, the different paintings, okay, that have been created. No black scholar has ever been represented in art as much as I have in the 21st century. No black scholar on the planet has been represented in art as much as Dr. Umar Johnson. So for me, that's an award. I don't need any conscious group to validate my work. So I support the Black Consciousness Awards. I don't need an award. I never want an award. You know, I probably wouldn't have win anyway because there was a lot of people there who I don't really bang with. You understand? But I respect what they did. I respect what they did. I think it was a good thing. They should do it every year. Okay. And for those of us who were not rewarded or acknowledged, we need to really check ourselves. We need to really look in the mirror and check ourselves. You know, why are we in this? Are we in this so somebody could pat us on the back? Are we in this so we can be acknowledged? Because if so, then maybe you're not sincere. Because this work that we do, you don't get rewarded for this. This is sacrifice. This is struggle. Malcolm X never got his award. Dr. King never got his award. Marcus Garvey never got his award. Harriet Tubman never got her. Ida B. Wells never got her award. You understand? So we don't do this for acknowledgement. So I'm not taken aback. I don't feel slighted or anything like that. Okay? Because there's not a person in our race who don't know who I am and what I represent. I don't need any clique to validate me. And I support what they did. We got to make sure we don't send the wrong messages to our children. Because if black children see black men and women attacking a positive effort to acknowledge those who are engaging in the behaviors that we need for us to take away from that because we wasn't awarded or acknowledged, that is very selfish. That is very petty. That is very narrow-minded. That is very Eurocentric. And this is just my opinion. I'm just speaking for me. Okay, I don't have no problem with not getting that award. I didn't even know about the awards. You understand me? So I respect what they did. I think it was good. That is very good. If you don't agree with it, do your own awards. Okay, let's look at the music industry. You don't get a Grammy, but you might get a Soul Train award. You don't get a Soul Train award, you might get a BET award. You don't get a BET award, you might get an Essence award. You don't get an Essence award, you might get a NAACP Image Award. You might get an Urban League Award or whatever the case may be. But the reason why you have different award programs is because you have different people who evaluate work differently. You understand? In this award, Beyonce might get Best Artist. Another award, Jay-Z might get Best Artist. Another award, you know, somebody else might get Best Artist. You know, you can't take issue with people for rewarding people who they value and who they love and who they respect. You know, now people were saying, well, it was all about the South and they, you know, discriminate against people from here and there. I don't have a problem that, but it's their awards though. When you put together an award show, you can acknowledge and reward anybody you want. So for me, I support it. I don't know who was behind it. I don't know who put it together. You know what I mean? I saw the people who got nominated. I saw the people who got awards. And to be honest, if they doing positive work, they should all been rewarded and acknowledged. Again, it's not about who the best was. It's about acknowledging people who do the work. It's not a competition. So we shouldn't say, well, this person did better than this person and did it. Nah, I'm not into that. They acknowledge black people doing positive things, and so I support. I have no problem with the Black Power Awards, okay? That's not the message I want to send to our young people, that Dr. Umar Johnson is going to attack or take issue with a positive program acknowledging black achievement because he wasn't acknowledged. I am not that type of dude. Do you understand? I am not that type of dude. So long live the Black Power Awards. Keep doing what y'all doing. I ain't got a problem with it. All right. Let's go back to the questions. Is there someone else with a question?
Dr. Umar, let me just ask this real quick.
Where you calling from? Is this the same brother?
When did you want to come to Charlotte? What time frame were you looking at?
I'm looking at February. It'll probably be a Saturday in February, so I need to find the venue. I'm gonna take care of everything else. I just need the venue.
Okay. All right, I
So,
got you.
all
All
right.
right, thanks.
So if you can, just text me some info and I'll follow up with them.
All right, good deal.
Appreciate that. All right. Is there another question on the call? Yes, ma'am. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Boston, Mass.
Boston, Massachusetts. I'm gonna be coming up to Boston to do my For Sisters Only
Yeah,
relationships
great.
and
I was
dating.
excited. I came when you went to the street theater.
Oh, you were there?
Yes, I was there, of course. How
Oh,
could I
that's
miss
love. That's
that?
love. That's love. Yeah, I'm gonna come on back to Boston.
I can't wait. I need, you know what? I need help with my daughter. You know, I mean, my son is fine, and you know, he wants to go to college, wants to go to Mass Bay and everything, but it's my daughter. You know, like it's frustrating for the work. You know, she wants to smoke weed, and she's not. You know what I mean? She's not doing it. My cousin Jasmine, she goes to the Air Force, and it's around my daughter's age. You know, and I talked to her about that maybe, and she said, well, Mom, I'm not going anywhere. So she doesn't, I don't know. She said, I want to be a teacher. And I'm like, you can't be a teacher sitting around smoking weed. You got to get yourself together. You know?
Right.
It's a lot of work. But, I mean, I don't know. I want to see if I could, like, I don't know, even take you or something at work with her. Because she needs help, you know? But I want her to be in order. I do.
Where's her?
I'll do anything to help my kids.
Where's her daddy?
He's in Rhode Island.
Does she get to
You know,
spend time?
he's not really involved.
He's not really involved.
You know what I mean? He's
Oh,
there, but he's not.
when's the last time
He's
she spent?
basically like a lock on the log basis. He calls when he feels like calling, and deals with it when he feels like doing it.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
probably a part of
So,
it. That's probably a part of it. And then, how is her relationship with you?
yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, I don't know. I wasn't there. I was irresponsible, you know, for a long time with my kids. You know what I mean? I was young when I had my kids. So I really didn't take care of them the way that I should have.
It's
Like
okay.
that, you know?
And you got to forgive yourself. None of us were perfect.
Yeah.
None of us were
It's
perfect.
hard, you know. I mean, it's hard sometimes to really forgive yourself when you know you messed your kids up. You know what I mean? But all you can do is continue to move forward. And I just work hard every day. I'm not that person anymore. I don't party. I don't smoke weed anymore. And I just want to be able to. I want my daughter to have a good life. You know what I mean? I don't want her to follow in my footsteps and think what I was doing was right because it wasn't.
Right.
But I don't know how to explain that to her to get her to see it.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
That's the frustrating part. Yeah, man. It's like, you know, you can't feed it into your child. You would love to, but it's like that. You don't understand how dangerous the streets are.
Right.
You think you can hang, but don't you get it. But you know what? I mean, I thank God that people brought me. You know what I mean? So that way I could actually be able to, you know, see things in a different perspective. Because, I mean, it's crazy out here. It is, you know, and I know what it is out here, you know, to be like that. And I want her in order. You know, I want her to get help.
Well,
I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. You're a teenager. You know how that is. It's so frustrating. It is.
yeah.
And I can get her. She can get whatever she wants to. You know what I mean? Whatever the girl wants, I'll buy
Right.
her. You know,
Is
I
she
don't know
involved?
what to do, but
Is she
can do
is
that.
hear me out. Is she involved in any extracurricular activities?
See, that's the problem. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's too much rough. Like the girl is hard-headed. She doesn't want to do anything. You know what I mean? Besides smoke weed, it seems like.
She just want to
You know,
smoke
I mean,
weed.
it's
Well,
not
if
fun.
she's smoking weed,
Kind of fun teenager.
hear me out. If she's smoking weed, that means she's self-medicating because she has something on her mind. Our teenagers do not just smoke weed because they want to be cool and because it feels good. Most of them that smoke a lot of weed are self-medicating. They're trying to drown out personal issues that they're dealing with. Well, here's three things I just have right from the top. Number one, I think that she should get some counseling just to see if there's anything going on. And I think the two of you together should get some family counseling. Okay. And what you can do is text me when we get off the call, and I will send you the contact for the Association of Black Psychologists so you can see who we have out there. And if you're not able to connect with a black psychologist, keep in mind you can also connect with a black counselor or social worker, okay, or family therapist. They're also fine. So that's number one, counseling for her, and then for the both of you together as a family. Is she the only child?
No, she has a brother too. My son is older.
Okay, your
He
son.
stays with his dad's mother.
Okay, so she's the only child in the house. It's just you and her.
Yeah. Me,
Yeah,
her,
so
and my parents stay there too. Yeah.
right, which means that you and her need to start doing positive things together outside of the home. It doesn't matter if she doesn't want to. You got to make her. 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 Y'all got to get out the house and do some stuff.
Hang out with me. She would rather go up and smoke weed with her friends.
Right.
She doesn't have anything to do with anything that I want to do. I can take her shopping. Little girls like to go shopping. She doesn't want to go shopping. She doesn't want to do anything. She just wants to go out, smoke weed, and hang out with these little girls that are fat. You know, like one little girl's 19 years old. I'm like, wait a minute, what is a 19-year-old got in common with my 16-year-old daughter? Nothing.
Well, here's the other thing. The other thing is we need to get her in some sort of extracurricular activity, which I know is going to be tough. And then the third thing,
That's the problem.
yeah, the third thing is you should talk to her about possibly going on a college tour this summer. I think she would get a lot out of that. Yeah.
I am. I'm fighting to get her on that tour. What is the deadline for the tour?
There's no deadline really until we fill up. We're going to take one bus for both the North and the South, but she's 16, so she'll be doing the South tour. The South tour is 11 to 17, the North tour is 18 to 25. So she'll be doing the South tour, and registration should be ready to go January the 1st. Registration should be ready to go on January the 1st. That's how we're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my daughter on that tour. How much is the North tour?
The North tour, I don't know yet, but I'm going to try to basically keep them both at about $2,000 to $2,500 for the parent. I'm going to, yeah, I absorb a portion of the cost for the children. So I'm gonna try.
Yeah, you said that you did 1,500, right?
2,000. Yeah, the whole thing is 35, but the parents I'm gonna try to keep it at 2,000, no more than 25.
That's what I remember. Okay, wonderful. And how many colleges do they go to?
About 10 to 15.
10 colleges. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, and it's about 2 weeks, you said?
Yes, ma'am. 2 weeks, 14 days and 14 nights on the college tour. And not only do we do the colleges, the reason we call it Black College and Consciousness Tour, we do a lot of Black consciousness landmarks in places. So we go to museums. So we'll be doing the National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis where Dr. King was murdered. That's now the National Civil Rights Museum.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, the George Washington.
How do I get her with you, though? Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
I feel like you can help her, you know, and I'll pay you to help her. I don't care. I just want my daughter help.
Well, she come on the tour, she'll be with me because I'm there. So, and I meet with the kids individually and all of that. So she'll definitely get a chance, you know what I mean, to talk and interface with me. And then also, when I come back to Boston, if you remind me a couple days before I get there, we can arrange for me to come and meet with her one-on-one, and then meet with the both of you too. Because I suspect that part of her issue is your relationship. Because she don't have her dad. The dad is not there, which means you're all she has. And if the two of you don't have a positive relationship, that means she doesn't feel attached in a positive way to either biological parent. And that could be pretty tough.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Exactly. Yeah, because you got to remember, my parents took care of her, you know, because I was irresponsible, like I told you. I was out there partying, smoking weed and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. And then now look, you know, now my daughter's like, you know, I don't know, it's frustrating, you know. When are you coming back to Boston?
When am I coming back to Boston? I don't have a date. I don't have a date right now, but I might get there through January because I'm gonna do it for sisters only, so that it might be January.
Okay, so around January. Okay, yeah, that is good. Okay, yeah, and then I can get you. Yeah, that will be really, really good. How can I get contact with you? You know,
I'm
so
gonna
I
give you
can
my
let
number
you
right
know
now.
company.
I'm gonna give you.
Okay.
You ready?
Oh my God, I'm driving. Wait, yeah, I'm listening, but yeah, I'm driving, but I'm listening at
Okay,
the
well, this is
same
what you
time.
can
Yeah.
do. Since you're driving, no, all you have to do is go to my Facebook page. Are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, or you just go to my website, drumarjohnson.com, and send me an email. Actually, my phone number is on my website. You can get the phone number right off my website. And
Okay.
yeah, you can text me or call me on that or email me either way.
Okay. Okay, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, and then I'll just give you my number. That way, that have that.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No
And
problem,
I
Quinn.
really feel like you'll be able to help my daughter because you do something too good with kids. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
And you can already tell that you know how to break them down basically and understand where they're coming from. You know what I mean? And I just get frustrated because I know what's going on, and I try to get it into her head, but you can't necessarily just get it like that to a kid. You know what I mean? There's certain ways you have to come at them, but I'm learning. It takes time.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So stay in touch with me. We'll
All right.
talk soon.
Okay, I will. I
Okay.
will, definitely. I'm going to
All
get
right.
that number. Okay. All
Take
right,
care,
thank
love.
you.
All right. Is there another question on the call this morning?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago, Illinois. Go right ahead.
Yes. Hello, Dr. Umar Johnson. I have a question for you. My daughter is a senior in high school. She has an IEP, and we are currently filling out applications for colleges and universities. I wanted to know if there was anything coded on her transcripts or anything showing that her grades that she is in the IEP program, and if so, will her grades be looked at as less than what they are? Because I did see when you were here back in Chicago, and you were stating how once they get into the IEP program, that you notice that they do get A's and B's, and everything that you said is what is exactly happening with my daughter. The difference is she was born with a brain defect, so there is some disabilities, mental disabilities there in regards to why she ended up in the IEP program. But again, my concern is if her grades will be looked at differently or less than when she's applying to these colleges.
Okay. Okay. During the college application process, when y'all put in the request with the main office at the high school to get those transcripts, they normally give them back to you to be included in the college application. They can mail them directly, but
they're electronically sending them now.
okay, they're electronically sending them now. What you want to do is you want to ask for a printout for yourself. You want to ask for a printout for yourself so you can look at it and see whether or not they have any special codes. So I would ask the school that, but then I would also ask for a printout of my own so I can see exactly what the colleges are getting. And basically, your answer depends on the state and the district. Every district is different. Okay, most of them don't code the grades, but a lot of them do. A lot of them do. And that's a very good question, and you need to find out. You need to find out. In fact, you could even speak with the special ed coordinator at your daughter's high school, and she should be able to let you know that too.
Okay.
Yeah, but you do need to. Even if it is, and I would prefer that they wasn't, but even if it is coded, don't be too concerned about that. And the reason I say that is because colleges, they don't have special ed or nothing like that, but they are required to admit a certain percentage of students with disabilities. They are required. You follow? So even though on one hand it can discriminate, but on another hand it could help her get in because you're looking at, she's basically three categories. A regular student, an African American student, and then a student with a disability. But you do want to know that. You definitely do want to know that because that way, where she doesn't get in, you can know that may have influenced it.
Thank you so much. And if I could ask one more quick question.
Sure.
Again, when you were here in Chicago, I can recall you saying that a lot of the children with IEPs, once they graduate, instead of a diploma, they will receive a certificate of completion.
Yes.
How would I find out, or how would I know if that is what my daughter will receive?
IEP team. You can either have a conversation with the principal, or you can call an IEP meeting to discuss your daughter's graduation and to make sure that she has met graduation requirements to get a regular high school diploma. And you want to get on that because she's a senior now, correct?
Right.
Yeah, so you want to get on that now. I mean, you can have an informal conversation with the special ed coordinator if you trust her. If you trust her. Okay, if not, then I would go straight to the principal because the principal is ultimately responsible for who graduates and who doesn't in that school. So you may need to have a conversation with the principal like, listen, I need to know, is my daughter on track to get a high school diploma? Or are y'all going to try to give her a certificate of completion? I need to know, is she on target to have met all graduation requirements for this state? Is my daughter getting a diploma? And then they can look and tell you, exactly where she is. So you want to get on that because she does have an IEP. We want to make sure we don't get blindsided at the last minute.
Okay. I thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. No problem. Is
Dr.
there?
Umar, I have a question.
Sure. Where you calling from?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. Go right ahead.
My son is an IEP student in 4th grade, and he recently got suspended before the Thanksgiving holidays. They said it was because he injured 2 staff members, but I didn't receive any paperwork that talked about how he injured people or anything. I received the email at 3:54 in the evening that they were going to suspend him. No one called me or anything. I filed for a due process hearing because they're not following his IEP when it comes to his breaks or any of those things. And now, since they said I filed for a due process hearing, that they're not going to communicate with me at all. So I'm a little confused about what my rights are as a parent because my son is still going to that school, but nobody at that school will talk to me.
Okay, give me this again. Give me that whole thing again.
My son was suspended right before the Thanksgiving holidays because they said he injured 2 staff members. I received the email at 3:54 saying that he was going to be suspended for 2 days. No one ever called me or said anything. I didn't receive any incident reports of 2 people being injured. I was actually emailing his teacher the same day. And the incident that supposedly occurred the day before. So I filed a due process hearing because now they're telling me they're not going to speak to me at all because I filed a due process hearing. Can they do that?
No, they cannot not talk to you because you filed due process. Now, what was your due process for? What are you challenging?
My due process is because his work is supposed to be broken up into chunks, and they said that since he didn't want to do his classwork, that he had to bring home 5 pages of work. So I'm trying to figure out if his work is supposed to be chunks. Number one, why is it so much? And number 2, I want to know what's the protocols for suspension. There's a lot of things that I put in there that I need to have answers to that nobody will answer. And I have everything documented. Even the day of the incident, the teacher told me he had a great morning. He got upset because they had promised him that he could go to lunch with his class. And then they told him he couldn't, so he had a meltdown.
Okay. And you filed due process with the state, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What I would do between now and due process is I would only communicate with that school in writing. Even if you talk to them, I will follow up with a letter, which is what we should do anyway. You need to start a paper trail because they're clearly against you, and they're going to try to do whatever they can to screw your son over. So everything should be a letter. In fact, you need to be sending a letter because what's going to happen is when you go to the due process hearing, you're going to bring a folder with all your documentation in it. They told you they're not going to talk to you, so you need to send a letter stating that. I'm sending this letter per
I
my
have it in
conversation.
writing from the district, email in writing from the district special education director. Who he told me that the school was not going to talk to me, that he's directed them not to talk to me, and he said that he was no longer going to speak to me. So I have everything in writing. I'm just
Okay.
trying to figure out for my son's safety, is there anything I can do since nobody will talk to me? Like, they've even put him in a different classroom without my permission.
They can't do that. That's a violation. You can't
I
change
found out
program without the
yesterday when
parent.
he went back to school yesterday, he's even in a different class.
Okay. All right. So this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. You have to do. First of all, did they give you a date yet for the due process hearing?
Well, I called because the judge, I got a cancellation date. Like, she scheduled the date and then said we needed to do mediation. So I'm waiting on mediation to happen now.
Okay, but you didn't get a date for it yet.
No, because the judge said that we have to do mediation first before the hearing.
Right, but you didn't get a mediation date yet?
No. And I
Okay.
know they have a certain amount of time, and I found this at the beginning of the month. So,
Okay. Well, we can sit tight for the mediation date, but I would send a letter to the superintendent. I would send a letter to the superintendent describing everything that's going on. I currently am in due process with your school district, and you need to know that they're not communicating with me. They changed my son's placement, which is illegal. Okay, it's to be honest with you, when you go to mediation, you might turn it down because mediation is about settling. Do not settle if you don't agree. Do not settle if you don't agree. That's number one. Too many parents go to mediation and they accept something they didn't agree with. Why did you accept it? I don't agree. And also, because of what they're doing to your son, switching his placement, not talking to you, they're making the environment very hostile, which tells me that you might turn down mediation or at mediation demand that your son go to an approved private school. You might demand that your son goes to an approved private school because he cannot get a fair share there because they have criminalized him. They have an issue with his mother. The learning environment is hostile and he cannot be subject to that. So to be honest with you, you want to document every little thing that they do because when you finally do go to due process, you might say, listen, I I didn't put this in my original petition, but I want an approved private school. My son cannot learn in this environment. The only thing that would stop me short of that is if you have another school in the district that you would recommend. Now, if you have another school in the district that you would recommend that you think, your son could be successful at, then you might try that first. But, to be honest, they're creating an atmosphere that's going to make it difficult for your son to learn there, which almost necessitates or demands an approved private school placement, which districts don't like to pay for because it costs money. But from what I'm seeing, that's where we're headed.
yeah, I'm just nervous because I can't afford a lawyer. So
You don't need a lawyer for this. You don't need a lawyer for this.
Okay.
But what you do need is you need to have two people who are going to go with you to every hearing. Do not go by yourself. The stakes are too high. Do not go by yourself. You got to have support when you go to these things.
Okay.
So that's
I'm just worried about him because now, like, the paraprofessional that he's had issues with is now in his everyday classroom. Like, this is the guy who's hit him in the head with a bag of chips and told him that he wasn't going to be his friend. So I'm really worried about him being in this new classroom. So I just, it's hard for me as a parent because I can't get anybody to talk to me. I've called several times. Nobody will take my calls. And, I'm a working single parent, so it's hard for me to, like, take time off work and keep going to the school when people not going to talk to me anyway, when I'm in a very racist county anyway. So it's frustrating for me. And I'm trying to hold everything together, but it's hard.
Yeah, don't let them break you because that's what they like to do. That's the goal, to break you so you let them do what they want. That's the whole goal with schools. Break the parent so they give up and let us have our way. You don't want to do that. Your next step is the letter to the superintendent. Your next step is a letter to the superintendent demanding a meeting, or demanding a meeting to address this situation of them changing your son's placement without your permission. Okay, and and to also address the disrespect towards you as a parent. Okay, that's the other thing here. Okay,
I know I had the IEP meeting next Monday. So, like, I have an advocate going with me, but I want to know, like, how do I handle this whole situation? Like, I'm trying to figure out how it's going to be since they're not communicating with me. Like, I don't get
well, they
any
don't have no
structured
choice but
homework
to
like
communicate
at
with.
home.
They don't have no choice but to communicate with you at the IEP meeting. Okay, so
Okay.
they don't have any choice on that there. But what you need to do is you need to make sure you're clear about what you want to discuss at the IEP meeting. Obviously, at the top of the list is them changing his placement without your permission. They cannot just put him in another class. All of that is placement, and that needs parent approval. You so IEP parents, a special ed parent of a special ed kid is supposed to know everything that is being done with their child in school, and they're keeping you out of the loop. So that's one of the main issues that need to be discussed. Why are y'all changing his placement without getting my approval? I'm part of this team. You don't do nothing with my child without me. And you want to reiterate that to them. Not only is it illegal, it's not acceptable.
Right. I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for all the work you do.
No
Thank you.
problem. And keep me posted. Definitely keep me posted. And hopefully you're able to make it out January 1st to the Shrine of the Black Madonna. I'll be speaking there and I'll be talking about this as well as some other stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, love. Take care. Is there another question on the call?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, Dr. Umar?
Yes, sir. Where you calling from?
Calling from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo, Michigan. I'll be in Detroit Friday, December 30th. But go right ahead, my brother.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I just had a baby girl, on the 1st of September, this year. And, I guess kind of what I'm asking is like, I mean, like, like a lot of stuff that like your beliefs and like the Pan-African beliefs as far as like making sure the children, like, or like the children grow up with like a strong knowledge of self and, being aware of like what they watch and what they listen to. Like, I guess some people kind of think I'm a little too extreme about it, or like it's kind of unnecessary. What would be your take on that?
Well, you're going to get resistance because black people are totally in love and committed to white folks. We adore white people. We absolutely love white people. Uh, the biggest reason why President Obama was so loved by black people is because he was accepted by white people. If President Obama was rejected by white folks, he would have been rejected by us too. So we love white folks. Black people are in love with white people. They don't you better not say nothing about white people around black people. They will kill you. So you're going to get resistance because anything that doesn't include our slave masters is going to be rejected by the slave. Anything that doesn't include the slave master is going to be rejected by the slave. So you just have to keep on going because you're dealing with sick people. The black community is an insane asylum. We are politically and economically insane. Black people are politically and economically insane. Our community is an insane asylum. Okay, so when you're surrounded by mentally ill people, politically mentally ill people, then you will look like you're crazy because you're not doing what they are doing. See, most of us are under the hypnosis of social conditioning. We are under the hypnosis of Willie Lynch, the hypnosis of self-hate. So we are hypnotized by white folks. We are totally hypnotized. That's why we out here spending billions of dollars on Christmas gifts right now, wasting all that money on Christmas. We ain't got no schools. We ain't got no hospitals. We ain't got no factories. We ain't got no industries. But we giving billions of dollars to white folks during this Christmas. So you see, we're insane. We are economically insane. So you cannot take advice from insane people. You just have to keep on doing what you're doing, but focus on the children because those are the ones who we had to save. The adults are done. Let me say, the black people we have walking this earth right now, The black people we have walking this earth right now are not likely to bring about the redemption that we need. The people we got right now, they offer very little hope to the future of African people. Okay? So what we have to do is prepare the children, the next generation. It will be the next generation that will save us. So that's where you should focus your attention. But as far as being seen as extreme, who has ever made a difference in the world who was not considered extreme? I can't think of one person who has ever changed anything, white, Asian, Chinese, East Indian, Arab, who has ever made a difference who was not considered extreme. You know, they say that all truth passes through three stages. All truth passes through three stages. Stage one, it is ridiculed, it is repudiated, and it is rejected. It is ridiculed, it is repudiated, it is rejected. And then second, it is considered, it is scrutinized, and it is contemplated. It is considered, it is scrutinized, it is contemplated. And then the third stage, it is finally accepted as truth and as the way things are. Take Christianity. Christianity was once considered an outlaw religion. Okay, it was considered a little extremist little group. Now it's the largest religion in the world. Same thing with Islam. You know, so many small little things became great because it had to pass through the three stages. You know, everything has to pass through those three stages. You know, just like black people now who take issue with some of my positions, you know, 100 years from now when I'm dead and gone, you know, I would be considered a genius for some of the things that I've had to say, even though right now they're being repudiated and rejected. So you just have to stay the course. It's all about commitment, being committed to what you stand for, knowing your principles, know what it is about yourself that you would give your life before you abandon or betray that principle. We need men of principle, people who are going to stand because it's the right thing to do, not because they're being paid, not because they're getting attention, not because they're being seen, but because it's the right thing to do. We need men of principle.
Gotcha, gotcha. And I have one more quick question. I heard you refer to as Michigan being a state that doesn't require to give out
Mental giftedness.
mentally gifted.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So what would be like? So what exactly is the process of possibly? And I know I'm talking about future terms right now, but like, what would be the process of being diagnosed as mentally gifted if it's not required in the state of Michigan?
You would have to get it done privately. If you live in a state where mental giftedness is no longer protected by law, then you have to hire your own psychologist to evaluate your child and determine if they are mentally gifted. And if they could, although the school district doesn't have a gifted program, that could definitely make them eligible for, you know, advanced placement courses, college prep courses, and other types of programs. It might also influence them to skip the child, advance them by a grade or two. Okay, but most importantly, if the child is gifted and qualified to be gifted, then we should be doing stuff with them outside of school, enrolling them in programs outside of school that will help them develop their level of intelligence.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I just really appreciate the work you do, and what I'm saying. Like when I'm at my second job, that's pretty much all I listen to is your lectures and stuff like that on YouTube. So it kind of keep me focused and keep me moving. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate it. And your Africa tour this summer is it's the same 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. The trip to Africa will be this summer, and it will be the same 2 weeks. And I'm working on that now to decide what countries we're going to go to. Last week of July, first week of August. Last week of July, first week of August.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Prince of Pan-Africanism, man. I really appreciate it, Dr. Umar. Keep up the good work.
No problem. Thank you, my brother. Okay. Is there another question on the call?
Hi, Dr. Umar.
Yes, ma'am. Where are you calling from?
Yes,
Atlanta.
And I just want to, yes, sir. Just want to thank you because I think, and I'm sure many would agree with me, that you are completely priceless. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mama.
My question is, I have a 3-year-old son, and the bottom line is I wanted to know if I should push to have my son reevaluated for speech intervention, or should I just fund it by the state, or should I just have him evaluated privately? What happened was is that he had a seizure in January of this year, seen in the emergency room, and then evaluated by neurology. The neurologist said on subjective and objective exam in his office that my son had cognitive developmental delays, right-sided hemiparesis, and of course the seizure. He had an MRI done, and it showed that he had insults to his brain, and that he had likely decreased oxygenation to the brain while in utero. So this was in January, so he made 3 this past July 4th. So he had about 3 or 4 visits with Babies Can't Wait. He was able to get treatment. Hello?
Yes.
He got foot braces, and he underwent physical therapy and 1 occupational therapy session. And so once he made 3 years old, that's when the Babies Can't Wait ceases. And so they referred him for evaluation through the school system.
Uh-huh.
He was evaluated, and he passed everything. They said he was a little slow in motor. But I have since noticed that his speech has been worsening. He's been stuttering, and it takes a long time for him to get the words out, and then he may get frustrated and just stop. They used the Goldman-Frisco test of articulation and said that he passed. So with my observations, I emailed the county person, the person over speech, back in mid-October. I just got a call back last week, and I've been having a hard time. They said that when they do accept people, they don't reevaluate but every 3 years, and they have to check with their superiors to see if they even have another tool to reevaluate my son. So like I said in the beginning, my concern was that my son's speech is getting worse. He still has the right-sided weakness. I've been working with him on my own, and I just wanted to get your opinion if you feel that I should push through the system to try to get him speech help, or I just need to put my coins together and try to get him help on my own.
Okay, he was previously evaluated for speech?
Right, through the county, and they used, the Goldman-Frisco test.
When was
and
that?
The young lady said.
When was that?
That was June 1st.
Oh,
June 1st this year.
Okay, that was before he had the accident?
No, the seizure was January this year.
Okay, so he was tested after the seizure?
Correct.
Okay. January this year, we at the end of the year. Okay. Legally, a child can be evaluated once every year by the school. So if that was January and we're about to go into January, once the new calendar year starts up, he can be evaluated again. If you want them to do it. However, if you can afford it, I would do it independently to make sure you're getting the truth. See, the thing about school evaluations is that they are often influenced by personal agenda. So if the school district doesn't want to provide your son with any service, they'll say nothing's wrong with him, or they'll say very little is wrong with him. The only way you're going to get the truth is if you get an evaluation independently. So if you can afford it, I would recommend an independent speech and language evaluation.
Okay. So I just do it myself. And, of course, I'll do whatever it takes for my son to get what he needs. And the earlier intervention, the better. So, all right. Thank you so much, sir.
No problem. And there is, so you know, There is an African American Speech and Language Pathologists Association. You can Google them, and they have a website. But yeah, there is a Black Speech Therapists Association, so you can get a referral from them.
African American.
African American Speech Pathologists Association, I believe it is.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Is there another question on the call this morning?
Yes, I have one. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mine is just really brief. I know you mentioned something about the Association of Black Psychiatrists. Suppose you live in an area where there's none. Is there like a network that you could recommend for possibly like a Black social worker or something like that?
You do have the African American social workers. You have the African American counselors. I belong to the Association of Black Psychologists. What you can do is you could text me after the call, and I can send you the phone number and the email address for the Association of Black Psychologists, and then you could Google the contact for the Association of Black Social Workers and the Association of Black Counselors.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And you have my number?
Of course, yes.
Okay, no problem. Is there another question on the call? Okay, I might have got to everybody. Okay, no more questions? All right, no problem. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. I got to go evaluate some children in Philadelphia today. Okay, but again, Washington, D.C., I will see you Sunday. Elizabeth, New Jersey, I will see you next Saturday the 10th. Queens, New York, I will see you next Sunday, December the 11th. St. Louis, I will see you December 26th. Jacksonville, Florida, December the 28th. Detroit, Michigan, Friday, December the 30th. Jacksonville, Mississippi, Saturday, December the 31st. Atlanta, Georgia, Sunday, January the 1st. Los Angeles, California, LA. I will see you on Saturday, January the 7th. San Diego, January 27th and 28th. Okay, you can get tickets at princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com. Again, princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com. All right, you can also get to it from my website, drumarjohnson.com. If anyone needs private consultation, you can text me and I'll send you the link so you can do the PayPal. Private consults are $50. And if you live in a city where Dr. Umar Johnson has never presented, you help me find a venue and I'll take it from there. We still working on a repatriation task force. College tours coming up soon, 11 to 17 as well as 18 to 25. National Independent Black Parent Association Training Conference in San Diego. Hope to see you guys there. And the 2-week Africa trip, working on that as well. So it's just a lot in the mix. Still looking for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. I'll be visiting some schools in Baltimore next week. Baltimore, Maryland. I'll be looking at some schools in Baltimore next week. I looked at some schools in Georgia last week. So I'm just looking. If you know of a school that's for sale that has a couple acres around it, about 5 extra acres around it, let me know. I'll come take a look at it. But on that note, I'm going to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll be back again next Tuesday. God bless you, and let's try to stay positive. Peace and love.